having me. If you just, could I just have 1 second to say something, and then I will start. So my name is Ben Weber. I'm the City Councilor for District 6, represent Jamaica Plain, West Roxbury. Quick, before I begin, just a disclaimer. I have an 8th grader at the BLA who's applying to transfer to BLS. So because my family will be directly impacted by the decisions you make about the exam school policy, I think you should take my comments with a grain of salt, but I say that to illustrate that I'm not only speaking as the District 6 counselor, but as a parent. Sorry, as a parent? No? I'm speaking it, okay, I'm back. But as a parent who is deeply invested in BPS. Okay, thank you. I strongly support BPS's efforts to include a broader swath of Boston kids in the exam schools. As the First Circuit said, BPS has a legitimate interest in granting exam school admission not just to kids who test well, but also to kids who might have scored well on the test if they had come to the exam with the same advantages as kids and families with more resources. I have 2 issues with the current policy. First, it is written on the faces of the parents I speak to at the Linden, the Kilmer, and the Manning. These families have chosen these schools or been placed in these schools in the lottery and are strong supporters of BPS, but without bonus points, they have largely been excluded from the exam schools. I simply can't explain to them why it should be so difficult for them to access schools within the BPS system. Second, at schools like the Curley, where my daughter went, families, including mine, have struggled with the uncertainty of a system that seems to change without much of an explanation. As you consider the proposals that are before you, I ask that you try to keep something in mind. Let's choose a policy that both cements the gains we have made in creating exam schools that reflect our communities and incentivizes attendance at BPS schools. That is why I support a policy that provides bonus points to all BPS schools. Such a policy would reward families who stick with BPS, which benefits our entire community. I have been told by folks smarter than me that awarding bonus points to all BPS schools would be thrown out by the courts. Before you vote on the superintendent's proposal, I think you should at least answer that question for yourselves. We need a policy that promotes exam schools that reflect our communities, not a system that tells parents that their best shot is to leave the system during elementary school so they can try to get back into the exam schools later on. This appointed body is supposed to have the expertise and be able to make the tough decisions, free from political pressure. I hope you'll really give this the thought it demands. Thank you very much.
Chair Robertson, members of the school committee, and Superintendent Skipper. I'm here tonight as a District 4 City Councilor, as well as the chair of the Council's Committee on Ways and Means, to speak on 2 separate issues. The first is to emphasize the letter I sent earlier this month about the breakdown of the most recent exam school invites. I urge the school district to study what caused the decline in invites year over year before moving forward with any further policy revisions, especially if the administration intends to step away from the annual adjustments that have been part of the process in recent years. None of the administration's 3 options would address this recent decline in any meaningful way, and at the end of the day, public schools must serve as a public good. I'm also here as I filed a hearing order last week to begin the conversation on Boston Public Schools FY27 budget. I'll be continuing the early and collaborative process with BPS and the school committee on the budget till the end of this year. This collaboration has led to not only the reintroduction of a BPS budget book, but also strong budgets that are reflective of the constituents' priority, especially last year. And I'm hopeful we can continue that in the FY27 cycle. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Chair, members of the school committee, and Superintendent Skipper. My name is Gabriella Coletta Zapata, and I have the privilege of representing East Boston, Charlestown, and the North End on the Boston City Council. I'm here to provide comment on the most recent exam school policy recommendation. After years of thoughtful engagement from District 1 families affected by the 2020 exam school policy changes, I want to commend BPS for completing this comprehensive, data-driven review. This process reflects a real commitment to listening and learning from the community. The data shows that the current policy has advanced racial and socioeconomic equity, and at the same time, we must also acknowledge areas where inequality persists. I am encouraged that BPS is prepared to adopt meaningful adjustments, removing school-based points, adjusting housing-based points, and adding a citywide round to ensure our highest achieving students are not inadvertently challenged. These refinements strike an important balance, preserving the equity gains of the past 5 years while restoring clarity, fairness, and stability to the admissions process. As a proud alumna of Boston Latin Academy and a product of BPS, I know how life-changing exam schools can be. But true equity requires more than admission reform. It requires sustained investment in staffing, facilities, and support across all of our schools.
30
So that
seconds.
BPS student can excel regardless of where they attend. I'm hopeful that this evolving policy will not only expand opportunity and representation at exam schools, but also strengthen public trust. Thank you.